2-by-2 formation, and Dillon Gabriel picking a side, going to it quickly, being really decisive in the 2-minute drill.
First and 10, Gabriel over Lauderdale. And that is one of those balls that is dangerous for the receiver.
Dillon Gabriel's going to miss a touchdown here. He makes the wrong read. He doesn't stay calm in the pocket. In fact, the pocket is pretty good, but he has his tight end open right there. If Dillon Gabriel just stays calm in the pocket, instead of getting happy feet, he's going to find his tight end here for a touchdown. Instead, Gabriel gets two, nervous with the pocket, leaves a good pocket, a great pocket, and scrambles here and throws a poor low percentage pass.
The battle between Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders lit up the field, and fans got exactly what they were hoping for: intensity, drama, and a real fight. Dillon Gabriel came out swinging, putting up solid competition against Sanders, but cracks began to show. A costly fumble erased what could have been a touchdown, and then an almost interception nearly flipped the momentum, saved only by his receiver's desperate dive before the Rams' defense shut it down. Now, these mistakes might not get much airtime from the usual propaganda-driven journalists, but here we're not brushing them under the rug. We're breaking it all down, the highs, the lows, and what this means moving forward.
Get a little bit of pressure there from the right tackle, getting pushed into the quarterback, but Dillon Gabriel does a great job.
Dillon Gabriel's first big blunder came right out of the gate. Instead of taking the safer option and going for the middle lane, he decided to roll left, and that's where it all fell apart. Under pressure, he couldn't set his feet, couldn't deliver a clean throw, and the ball slipped out of his hand straight into the turf. Just like that, a golden touchdown opportunity was wasted, draining all the momentum his team had built on that drive. And just when it looked like Dillon Gabriel was settling in and finding his rhythm, disaster struck again. Standing comfortably in the pocket with no real pressure, he had the perfect chance to connect with his wide receiver on the right. The receiver was wide open, ready to take off for a big gain, but Gabriel misfired badly, sending the ball sailing out of bounds. It wasn't about the defense, it wasn't about the play call, it was simply a missed opportunity. Now it's starting to look less like a one-off slip and more like a pattern with Dillon Gabriel. Sure, he can string together stretches of solid football just like he did today, but sooner or later, the same mistakes creep in. His throws turn sloppy, the ball slips away, and suddenly the opposition is handed the momentum on a silver platter. We saw it again here. What could have been a routine play flipped into a dangerous opening for the other side. And it's not the first time. Remember the last game when his misfire turned straight into a turnover and the opposition cashed in with a touchdown? That's the cycle he keeps falling into. Let's take a closer look at that moment.
Good so far. And this one is picked off and going back the other way.
Back the other way.
Now it's a foot race. And that is that.
Analysts broke down that throw from the previous game and were quick to point out the obvious. Dillon Gabriel should have delivered a sharper, cleaner pass. The opening was there, the timing was right, but the execution just wasn't. Still, they did give him some credit for at least making the safer decision. Instead of forcing the ball toward a tightly covered receiver, which could have ended in a brutal interception, he pulled back. That hesitation may have saved him from a worse outcome, but it also underlined the bigger issue. When the pressure mounts, Gabriel struggles to finish plays the way a top quarterback needs to.
Whenever you have this much traffic, that many bodies in the same spot, in the same space, do not throw that ball, Dillon. Do not throw that ball. He knows that, and the end result, as we'll see right here, is a pick six. Now, I'm glad he didn't go the Baker Mayfield route and try to make the tackle because...
And in today's game, Dillon Gabriel even tried to take matters into his own hands with a rush the middle. But that plan collapsed just as fast. Jihad Campbell read it perfectly, closed the gap, and dragged Gabriel down for the sack. It wasn't just a failed attempt, it was a reminder of the limitations he's facing. If he can't power through here, what happens when he steps into the NFL, where defenders are faster, stronger, and far less forgiving? Plays like this raise real questions about whether his style can hold up at the next level. Dillon Gabriel's pocket presence is proving to be a glaring weakness. Instead of calmly assessing the defense and making the right read, he rushed into a poor decision that cost his team dearly. What should have been a straightforward touchdown position turned into a wasted opportunity, as his throw went off target and straight into the opposition's hands. That single mistake flipped the momentum. What could have been points on the board became yet another turnover, the kind of error that defines games and exposes just how far Gabriel still has to go.
Dillon Gabriel's going to miss a touchdown here. He makes the wrong read. He doesn't stay calm in the pocket. In fact, the pocket is pretty good, but he has his tight end open right there. If Dillon Gabriel just stays calm in the pocket instead of getting happy feet, he's going to find his tight end here for a touchdown. Instead, Gabriel gets two, nervous with the pocket, leaves a good pocket, a great pocket, and scrambles here and throws a poor low percentage pass that could...
Dillon Gabriel stepped onto the field with a careful, almost hesitant mindset, clearly aware he was up against the first-team defense. With top-level protection in front of him, it should have been his moment to showcase control and creativity. Instead, he played far too cautiously, focusing more on avoiding errors than on making plays. And once those first-string defenders rotated out, the cracks in his game quickly showed. Without that strong safety net, his rhythm collapsed. Fumbles, turnovers, and rush decisions exposed just how much he struggles once the heat is turned up. It became clear that when the pressure rises, Gabriel loses his grip on the game. The atmosphere on the field was growing heavier, and it wasn't something that could just be brushed aside. Even Coach Stefanski was pressed to talk about it in his pre-game remarks. While he started off on a positive note, highlighting the overall progress of the Browns, he couldn't avoid addressing the glaring problems. He admitted that the two turnovers, both directly tied to Gabriel's mistakes, changed the entire flow of the game. In a rare moment of candor, Stefanski acknowledged that those errors swung momentum hard against the Browns, leaving the team struggling to recover.
Two giveaways really were the difference there in that first half, because I thought we were doing some really good things, but then we got that takeaway, had a takeaway negated by an offside. So
the struggles were impossible to hide, and Stefanski didn't try to sugarcoat them. In his comments, he emphasized that while the team had plenty of good moments, Gabriel's costly turnovers stood out as game changers. Those mistakes weren't just minor slip-ups, they directly shifted control to the opposition and left the Browns scrambling to regain footing. It was one of the few times Stefanski openly admitted that Gabriel's errors had a lasting effect, making it clear just how damaging they were to the team's overall performance. Dillon Gabriel may have opened the game with flashes of promise, but the momentum quickly slipped away from him. His early rhythm was undone by costly mistakes, misfires, poor pocket awareness, and turnovers that tilted the game in the opposition's favor. For every good drive he managed, there seemed to be an equally damaging blunder waiting around the corner. That inconsistency not only stalled his own progress, but also opened the door for conversations that no quarterback wants to hear. Who's waiting behind him? And that's where Shedeur Sanders comes in. Gabriel's slip-ups have created an opening for Shedeur to step into the spotlight and prove his value. Unlike Gabriel, Shedeur has shown steadiness, poise, and the ability to rise under pressure. Every fumble, every turnover from Gabriel only sharpens the contrast between the two. The Browns, and their fans, aren't just looking for someone who can start strong. They want a quarterback who can finish strong. So while Dillon's start had promise, his failure to sustain it has shifted the narrative. The real opportunity now lies with Shedeur Sanders, who stands ready to take advantage of the cracks in Gabriel's game and possibly cement his own future. What do you think about Dillon Gabriel's performance? Was it just a rough patch, or is this becoming a concerning pattern? Do you believe his mistakes are enough to justify giving Shedeur Sanders more opportunities? Or should the coaches stay patient with Gabriel and let him work through the struggles? And when the pressure rises in bigger moments, who would you trust more to deliver, Gabriel or Shedeur? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your take on this quarterback battle.